Okay, now let's now move on to the formal operation stage of Piaget's theory of cognitive development. This stage begins when the child is 11 or older. This marks the beginning of abstract thinking. In this stage, the adolescent is able to generalize logical concepts and rules. So, hence, they are able to use them to solve their problems by generating new ideas. So, let's look at the major developments of this stage. First is going to be the hypothetico-deductive reasoning. Here the adolescent becomes capable of solving a problem initially by using generalized methods. They are aware that a certain number of methods exist to solve this problem. They take those methods, they analyze all the factors that may affect the solution if they use one specific method. Then they are able to come up with a hypothesis which they are able to test. So, here they started with an abstract point of what might be. They started with a theory, generalized view. Then it proceeded to reality as they got a hypothesis and they are able to test it in an organized way. So, this hypothetical deductive reasoning gives them the capability of inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. In inductive reasoning, they are able to get generalized principles from specific events. Okay, then deductive reasoning, they are able to use generalized results to get specific results. Okay, in this stage, the adolescent is able to criticize and evaluate his own ideas and solutions and thought process. He is able to evaluate himself, reflect on his behavior. This is called reflective thinking. Reflective thinkers can identify loopholes in a discussion and give logical explanations in favor of his argument. This is the time when they participate in debates and all. So this is what enables them to do so. It is reflective thinking. Then propositional thought. Here the adolescent is able to evaluate the logic of verbal statements without reference to real world circumstances. This means hypothetical situations. They are able to answer the if what questions. They are able to determine whether the statement is logical or not solely based on its wording. They do not have to recreate the entire scenario in reality, but they can understand it and give logical explanations to his favor. Then second is abstract thoughts. So, mastery over language increases during adolescence, their vocabulary also improves, the way they can express themselves also improves. So, this makes them more capable of abstract thoughts. Such abstract thoughts are needed when understanding about time and space related concept of physics, geometry and algebra in maths, and freedom concepts in social studies. So, as you can see, these are very abstract concepts. These are not very objective and these are not very objective questions. So, the abstract thinking capability is needed to understand these concepts. The fourth is cognitive distortions. So, according to Piaget, so abstract thinking coupled with physical changes gives rise to egocentrism, a different kind of egocentrism. If you remember this, we got this egocentrism in the pre-operational stage 2. So, this is a different kind of egocentrism. In this stage, the adolescent may develop cognitive distortions, disturbance in the cognitive thought. They imagine that they are on stage and everybody is watching them. They believe that they are the center of attention to some imaginary audience. So, hence they are very self-conscious and they are very afraid of embarrassment. This is why a lot of teenagers and adolescents spend hours in front of the mirror looking at how they are and how they would be perceived by other people. So, this is the reason. Then this is one kind of cognitive distortion. Another kind of cognitive distortion is called personal fable. Here the adolescent forms an inflated opinion of their importance and believes that others are only watching and observing and thinking about them. So, it is an inflated opinion, it is not real, but the teenager believes so. So, when they believe that they are doing something great, they reach heights of glory, and then when they feel embarrassed, they may sink in despair. So adolescents generally cling to these distortions because that is reality for them. Uh, they assure them of their importance in this phase of life. So here in this phase of life, they want to assert a independent identity from their parents. They've always been known by their parents, and now they want a separate identity independent of their parents. So this is why they cling to those distortions. But as abstract thinking becomes more established and more organized, and they're able to make sense of the world more clearly, such cognitive distortions generally tend to fade and decrease. So that's all.